All right, you legends, this is what the altcoin bull market looks like. We covered StormX, STMX yesterday, up over 100% versus where we were yesterday. And this is actually reflecting a price right now that has retraced. It was as high as about 1.5 cents. Something crazy is happening with StormX right now. I'd like to think that it's just based on the fundamentals of what it is this project offers, i.e., mass adoption in an incentivizing way through a rewards points structure. But other than that, I can't find any, especially pertinent news or anything crazy. Somebody suggested in the comments yesterday that Wall Street Bets was going after StormX. Not as far as I was able to corroborate. Sure, people are talking about StormX on Reddit, but that is the case for any project. Reddit, of course, is a large social media platform. So StormX, STMX continues to perform ultra well. That's the case right now to a lesser extent, but that's still the case with pretty much all of the altcoin market. Even Bitcoin right now, as I record, up over 6% on the day. Ethereum up over 10% on the day. New all-time highs. Now in the range of about 1,640. It may well be higher than that by the time you're watching the video, but if it's lower, don't worry about it. Polkadot also up 14.6%. Chainlink up nearly 10%. Aave up 15%. Just going across the board here, you have the entire cryptocurrency market cap up collectively 6.8% on the day with high volume. We're now again over $1.1 trillion. In fact, it could be argued that, it's forget about alt season or bull season. We're in all-time high season. This is very much the result of Bitcoin right now rallying back up again, above $37,000. And you have so many of the altcoin projects that, arguably were undervalued for a while that are now coming into their own. Here are just a few examples in this article by Pratik Bridge, Mutual, Sushi, Ethereum, as we just discussed, is at a new all-time high and climbing. FTX token, Huobi token, Dex Tools, Linear, Quant, QNT, Prosper, PROS. Many of these are our favorites. We encourage you to check them out. And also we encourage you to check out Pratik's signals, trade signals in particular. It's never financial advice, but if you guys want to be part of the discussion, which is an informed discussion, by the way, we discussed fundamentals, we discussed news, we discussed chart analysis as well. Check out the pinned comment at the top of the comments section. That's where I always leave the information for the Telegram group. You are more than welcome to join that discussion. But once again, it is never financial advice. Okay, let's take a look at all the good news today. For one thing, the relative search interest for the term specifically buy crypto is at an all-time high on Google Trends. Bitcoin, not quite at an all-time high yet. Ethereum just coming off its all-time high. But, quote, buy crypto is now at an all-time high across all historical search records. And if you guys are like me, you've been in this space for a few years, going back to the last bull cycle, so early 2017 in my case. I wish I could say I've been around longer, but it's been about 4 years for me. This is now my 5th year. If you're like me, you're likely sort of a little bit of an evangelical in your friends groups, and maybe you've been talking about crypto and Bitcoin and altcoins for years and years. And now people are kind of starting to remember those conversations from a few months ago or a few years ago, and they're kind of hitting you up. They're asking you exactly this question: how do I buy cryptocurrency? Well, it's reflected in the Google Trends data. You can read about that more here on Cointelegraph.com. Buy crypto, Google searches hit record high. So this is kind of a self-explanatory story, not really to go into it any further, but you can if you so choose. We'll link to this in the description below. We're getting extremely favorable and extremely positive news coverage from the likes of Forbes here. They've just named their blockchain top 50 personalities, I guess, for the year 2021. Here we have, of course, Changpeng Zhao of Binance on the left. We have Jack Dorsey of Twitter on the right. And the individual, the lady in the middle, is not a household name, but she may increasingly be a rising star, a rising personality in crypto. She's a senior director from Walmart who is extremely bullish, at least on the blockchain solutions that cryptocurrency can afford. So check this out. You got some very distinct names on this list here of 50 individuals, including Changpeng Zhao. Some of the prominent ones are quoted as well. CZ says, blockchain will fundamentally change financial systems in the next 10, 15 years. A blockchain technology will be applied in many areas because it is about trust, credit, security. the security of data and the privacy of data. Excuse me, that is not Changpeng Zhao, that is Jack Ma. My mistake. Don't accuse me of any racism in the comments, but I thought it was Changpeng Zhao. My mistake. I believe CZ is also on the list, but these are leaders of industry here from Ant Group, from Baidu, all in alphabetical order. There you have Michael Saylor, of course, we're going to get to in just a second. There we go. This is why I was confused. Hold the hate, hold the flame war, everybody. Binance was on this list. Changpeng Zhao here was on this list, so there you go. But other leaders from Boeing, Cargill, and going all the way down, let's get to that individual, Brian Armstrong, you just saw. Let's get to that individual from Walmart that was highlighted at the top, in the banner rather, of this publication, because it's quite compelling. Jack Dorsey also. The reason I have so much passion for Bitcoin is largely because of the model it demonstrates. A foundational internet technology that is not controlled or influenced by any single individual or entity. Very true. He represents not only Twitter, but Square as well. So let's get to this senior director from Walmart, Miss Arshana Sristi, and she had this to say. By tracking hundreds of fresh food items, including leafy greens, meat, and seafood on the blockchain, Walmart has made it easier to identify the origin of rotten products. So a very pragmatic use case right there. A benefit to not only the retailer, but also the FDA. And again, she is Walmart's Senior Director of Software Engineering and Blockchain Platforms. And as you can imagine, this bodes well for this sector, for the blockchain and crypto sector, but also arguably for specific products. I'm thinking VeChain, VET, for example, who's, in my opinion, only 1% of the way towards its full potential. VeChain, it just has unbelievable potential across almost every possible industry that you can think of when it comes to tracking, when it comes to logistics and transparency and accountability as well. So there's so much positive news. Check out this Forbes article in full. We'll link to it in the description below. But I asked you guys, I was curious from about an hour ago. Let's actually refresh here to get an updated tally. Are you currently, or do you anticipate being a crypto millionaire, having the equivalent of $1 million in crypto as a result of this bull cycle? So it's not to say that you already have that amount, but do you anticipate being in a position where you will have that amount? So you either already have it or you anticipate having it by the end of this bull cycle. I thought, there would be a minority of people in that millionaire bracket, even if it's just projected. But a full 53% of you felt that, yes, that is achievable. Either you already are crypto millionaires or that is achievable in the next, few months, possibly a year or more, but in this next bull cycle that we find ourselves in. So congratulations. And if you're not in that 53%, if you represent, part of those respondents in the 47%, hey guys, eyes on the prize. It's more than just the current month. It's more than just the current year. It's more than just the current bull cycle that we have to consider. Set yourself up to be able to profit ridiculously, not only this year, but in the next 5 years, in the next decade, in the next 20 years. Set yourselves a long time horizon, and I'm convinced that, if you kind of expand your strategy that way, 100% of us can be in that millionaire bracket, rather. It's going to go from 53% to 100% of the audience, so long as we're patient and so long as we make the right moves over a long enough time horizon. All right, more bullishness for you guys. As you know, Bitcoin just silently rallied past $37,000. No big deal. More and more people, of course, whales, institutions are buying the dip. Here is that convergence, once again, that overlap between cryptocurrency and Reddit and Wall Street Bets. WSB chairman replying to documenting Bitcoin. They've got a little bit of this flirtatious back and forth lately on Twitter. But the chairman weighing in bullish on everything that's happening right now with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency. And speaking of institutional interest, get this. Grayscale just added 254 Bitcoin and over 24,000, nearly 25,000 Ethereum over the last 24 hours alone. We know that MicroStrategy added about $10 million worth of Bitcoin as well over these last couple of days. We will get to MicroStrategy in just a second. Don't you worry. Russell Okung here. Speaking of the man in question, Michael Saylor, the legend is pitching the Bitcoin standard to thousands of institutional investors and corporations today. Let's get it. If you don't know what he's talking about, let's quote Michael Saylor here. This from yesterday to begin with. If you are interested in the legal considerations firms face while integrating Bitcoin into their corporate strategy, you are not alone. We have professionals from more than 1,400 firms joining us tomorrow, which is today, February 3rd, for this discussion. There is still time for your legal team to attend. That is legendary. Now, fast forwarding to this morning, the first day of the conference, we are excited to host Bitcoin for Corporations today. Response has been overwhelming. All sessions are live, and we will be covering material never before presented online. Quote, stuff I wish someone had told me about a year ago, documenting Bitcoin weighing in here. Michael Saylor today, quote, you're going to see an avalanche of companies in the coming 12 months also converting their balance sheets into Bitcoin. So perhaps it's possible that, this energy, this hype right now that is kind of concentrated in this MicroStrategy conference, perhaps largely that, is what we can attribute this rise in Bitcoin's price to, this pump above $37,000, at least in part. It's certainly possible. Michael Saylor is leading 1,400 companies in a speculative attack on the US dollar. This is bullish for Bitcoin. I wonder how MSTR stock is doing. Let's take a look, and no surprise there. Up another nearly 9% on the day, $749 now, just shy of $750. Taking a look at the week's snapshot here. These guys are unstoppable. I've commented before, I've made the joke, it's like we're looking at an altcoin chart here. Everything that Michael Saylor does, that MicroStrategy does, just turns to gold, or even better, turns to Bitcoin. There was a comment recently, people were discussing the Greek myth of King Midas, who was initially blessed, at least he thought, but then ultimately cursed because everything he touched turned to gold. He had the golden touch. And, I won't comment on the negative. Literally, yes, it is a curse. But if we just take it kind of casually, I think Michael Saylor is the new King Midas. Everything he touches is just fruitful, is prosperous. He's obviously implementing a strategy that works and now sharing that playbook with 1,400 individuals from major companies. I have every reason to believe that some of these players attending are like major heads of Fortune 500 companies. MicroStrategy was the first. They will not be the last, not by a long shot. We're going to see more and more companies, maybe not even announcing, maybe they'll keep it private, they'll keep it to themselves, but more and more companies will be employing this playbook, will be implementing a Bitcoin strategy, converting US dollars in their balance sheets into Bitcoin reserves. We are only just getting started. Okay, enough about Bitcoin and corporates and institutional investment. Let's talk a little bit about Ethereum. Zero Hedge and just about everybody else in the world weighing in here. Zero Hedge saying that Ethereum has surged now above $1,600. Like I said, about $1,640, about $1,650 at the time I started this recording, which of course represents a new record high for Ether. And that's happening despite what they called an overnight hit piece by Bloomberg. You can check that out here. Futures debut. That's happening soon on February 8th. Futures debut to test Ether's Bitcoin beating rise to record. Now, look, I wouldn't call this a hit piece. It's a bit more nuanced. Of course, you have the news of the CME Futures Group, or the CME Group, I should say, that is launching Ether futures on the 8th of February. So that's a positive in terms of news in the lead up to that event. But we all know what happened with Bitcoin futures when those were launched in 2017. There was an immediate precipitous drop in the price of Bitcoin. So I wouldn't call this a FUD article. I wouldn't call it a negative article, but it is suggesting that, look, yes, it's good news as far as leading up to that event, but we may see a sell-off afterwards because a lot of the speculators in those newly opened future markets will very likely short Ethereum, especially now since it's in new all-time high territory. What goes up must come down. Maybe there's an exception when it comes to cryptocurrency, I suppose, but a lot of people will see, hey, look, this is an asset that's appreciated 7, 8, 9 times over the course of the last year. I think it's due for a short. And as such, a lot of players in that futures market are going to likely short Ethereum once it goes live on February 8th. So, be careful for that. But then again, who knows? With this new climate that we're in right now with Wall Street bets, maybe people are going to be reluctant to short Ethereum because they know they're going to get wrecked by the masses. So it's hard to predict with certainty given all the variables in play right now. But, just keep that in the back of your mind. I wouldn't say this is a negative article. I think it's perhaps cautiously optimistic. Give it a read if you have a chance. Blockport here. ETH futures open interest hits new all-time high on $5.6 billion. That's up 47% in the last 24 hours alone. Wow. CME Ether futures also launches, again, in just 5 days. It's coming up very quickly. I cannot quite give you guys a prediction. I never give financial advice, as you know, but I can't give you a prediction as to what I think is going to happen here following February 8th. I may sell off some Ethereum at around the time of February 8th, but I still haven't kind of cemented my strategies just yet. I would advise you to keep an eye on the situation, be alert, and be attentive to what is happening. Tyler Winklevoss here, also talking up Ethereum. Ether starting to move. It's easily been the most undervalued crypto lately. I think many would agree for a long time. Tim Pool, who's talking more and more about Bitcoin, about Ethereum, about altcoins, Dogecoin, for example, to his millions of collective subscribers across 3 million plus YouTube channels. He's noticing that, holy poop, Ethereum now at nearly $1,600, and that's an outdated metric. Ethereum is a good $50, $60 higher than that. Expect here a lot of Ethereum talk on Tim Pool's IRL podcast tonight, which is probably one of my favorites after the Joe Rogan podcast. So, the word is getting out. As I mentioned, your friends, those in your circle, your family, they're likely asking you, they're hitting you up about cryptocurrency. Buy crypto at an all-time high. Now you have pretty popular internet personalities like Tim Pool talking about Ethereum, new all-time highs. It's just going to cascade all the way down. Guys, we're only just getting started. We are still early in this cycle. We also have this very positive news from Cointelegraph.com. ETH2 becomes the third largest staking network as Ether rallies into new all-time highs. ETH2, again, is now number 3 in terms of the largest crypto assets that are staked by the community. And as if that weren't enough good news, a figure, a metric that we like to tune into every now and then is itself exponentially blowing up. We're talking about the TVL, the total value locked in DeFi, courtesy here of DeFiPulse.com. Just a couple of days ago, last time we covered this figure, this statistic, it was sitting at about $27.5 billion, now 31.38. Let's just refresh here for poops and giggles and see what it is at now. And there you go, $31.45 billion, rising literally by millions of dollars seemingly every second. We're now starting to hit the knee of the hockey stick graph, if you will. This is a figure that's going to explode. Ethereum is becoming a household name. It is literally something now upon which just about, for the most part, every single DeFi platform is being constructed with. They're building on Ethereum. And people have been commenting, by the way. I respectfully disagree. People talking about how, look, Ethereum is slow. The gas fees of Ethereum are too expensive. There's superior technology everywhere. Yeah. And the thousands, tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of blockchain developers that are all smarter than us. I'll speak for myself. They're smarter than me. They understand this. This is not unknown information to them. They know that Ethereum is slow. They know that it is expensive. And yet somehow they continue to choose to build on Ethereum. There are solid reasons for that, i.e., the network effect of Ethereum. And number 2, the trade-off of being slow and being expensive is that it is secure. And a lot of blockchain developers out there consciously choose to build on slower, more established, more expensive networks because the trade-off is security. They are aware of these variables. They are choosing to build on Ethereum anyway. This is a number, this TVL metric, that is going to skyrocket. Expect to see it at 40, at 50, at $100 billion plus, eventually one day at $1 trillion. Of course, one of the most appealing benefits of DeFi, decentralized finance, is the passive income in terms of interest, commonly referred to as APY or staking, that you can accrue on some of the better platforms. And great news for the Gemini community. You can now earn interest on your crypto with Gemini Earn. This from yesterday, so courtesy of the brainchild here of the Winklevoss twins, Tyler, announcing it, introducing Gemini Earn. You can now earn up to 7.4% APY on your crypto held at Gemini, which is a very impressive figure. You can read more about that on Gemini.com. Yesterday, we talked about Elrond, which is a favorite for many of you out there in the altcoin buzz army. Elrond back in the news here. EGLD smart contracts will receive trustworthy off-chain data via the decentralized Razor Network oracles, hashtag hypergrowth100, day 29. Read more about that here on Elrond.com. Scalable data streams for Elrond smart contracts via Razor Network oracles. eMoney here, also in the news. We are extremely happy to announce that eMoney has joined forces with Ramp DeFi to provide greater interconnectivity and accessibility in the crypto space. More below, and also more here on Medium.com. eMoney and Ramp partner to power fiat to DeFi liquidity bridge for crypto users. Are you guys beginning to see that DeFi is kind of a big thing, kind of a growing space? Just a little bit. And finally here, in a follow-up to the news we had yesterday out of Binance with their beta version of Binance Pay, Travala.com has already picked it up. Check this out. From today, the 3rd of February, users can now seamlessly book more than 3 million travel products on Travala.com with Binance Pay. Despite the fact that it's literally in its nascent stages, Travala.com recognizes Binance. They recognize that these guys are some of the best in the world. Arguably, in my opinion, they're the best exchange in the world. And they're comfortable, they're confident enough to already list them on their website, which is pretty unbelievable. And by the way, if you haven't already perused Travala.com, you can save a lot of money using cryptocurrencies. They have an extensive offering of cryptocurrency, so they're very much catering to the community. You got to scroll down a little bit, but if you check out the payment options here under useful links, you'll see that you can pay for your Travala.com bookings in like literally dozens of cryptocurrencies. Some of our favorites are up here as well, and now we're happy to announce that Binance Pay has been added to the list. So there's something about this cryptocurrency space. I think it's got a bright future. Just a hunch. That is it for today, everybody. Hey, do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell to receive notifications. If you guys enjoyed today's video, best of luck, of course, if you choose to invest on this hump day, which I failed to mention at the outset of the video. Oh well. Anyways, best of luck if you do choose to invest. Be careful out there because things, may get volatile. We may see some pullbacks soon. Join that Telegram Trade Signals group, guys. Never financial advice, but I think you will benefit from being part of the discussion. Have a great midweek, everybody. Stay safe. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.